The game of egos, where the winner is the loser and the loser is the winner. The game of egos is one that has lived with us for the beginning of time. And I see it becoming more prevalent every day, every day, every day, every day, especially in the society and the times that we're living in now. People are stressed out. People are at the point where it's hard for them to handle their emotions. So they're easier to act irrationally. And it's becoming an epidemic and is ultimately leading to a lot of people's downfalls. Now, when I say in the game of egos, the winner is the loser and the loser is the winner, this is what I mean. Remember those old movies where people used to play chicken and they used to drive to the edge of a cliff very fast. He's like, "Oh, I'll stop, you know, after you." So whoever stops first is chicken, and whoever stops last is the winner. But what if the person who stopped last, he's the winner, but he drove off the cliff because of his ego? You see what I'm saying? He wanted to win so bad. He wanted to be seen as the winner so bad. He wanted to be seen as not chicken so bad that it ultimately cost him his life. And the person who ultimately lost the race because he chickened out, he won because he's still here today. He didn't drive off the cliff. He said, "You know what? This is cool. I'll lose." Ultimately deeming him as the winner. And I see it the same way today when people are not able to handle their emotions. People start acting irrationally. People are doing road rage. People are just acting out of ego. And then when the consequences come, the consequences for their actions, they're ultimately losing. Why? They may lose their life. Now they're in prison, lose money, lose their wife, lose their house, lose all type of things because they let their ego rule. The game of ego. You must dissolve your ego. You must dissolve your ego. You must. Or else your ego will be your downfall. Especially in the times we're living in now where they don't tell you to lower your ego. We big up the people who have the big ego. We big it up if you have a big ego and you're closed your ears and you don't listen and you feel like what your way is the truth and you don't allow any criticism or any questioning. We love that. Yet, like I said, that would be our downfall. Ego will be your downfall. Don't you see it now in the news with Diddy? His ego is his downfall. The game of ego. His ego won. Ultimately, Diddy is now the loser. See, you can play a game of chicken with yourself. Your consciousness could be telling you one thing, your divinity could be telling you one thing, and your ego could be telling you another. Your consciousness and your divinity could be pulling you left, and then your ego could be pulling you right. And which one is going to win? Everybody who's had a downfall because of their ego did it because they did not allow their inner divinity and consciousness to rule. They didn't put their ego to the side. People stepped back, didn't take a step back and to realize who they still were. They let their ego rule. They let the worldly titles and clout and all these things overtake them and ruin their spirit. This is truth. In the game of ego, the loser is the winner and the winner is the loser. If you are battling ego now, lose that battle. Don't let the ego win. Lose. Say I quit. Say I don't want to be ruled by the ego. I even have to check myself. Yesterday I was depressed a little bit because certain things didn't go my way or I felt disrespected in a certain way. This is truth. And then when I got a desirable outcome at the end of it, I was still had this cloud of depression and cloud of anger over me. And I had to check myself. I said, hey, get your ego out of it, Negro. Didn't you get a desired outcome? Didn't you get an outcome that was better than what you even called them for? So why are you so hung up with because somebody quote unquote disrespected you? Or why are you so caught up because you didn't have your way this way? Or this person got to handle you this way? Didn't you get your desired outcome? Get your ego out of it. I said, and then guess what? That relief came up off of me. It's our ego that makes us want to go get back. It's our ego that makes us want to go retaliate. It's our ego. It's our ego that makes the disrespect so loud instead of just understanding that this person is ignorant. It's our ego why we take everything so personal instead of just roll off our back like a turtle. You will not win when the ego leads. You will not win when you think you have to be right all the time. You will not win when you don't let your divinity and your true spirit just flow. Imagine you go to the opposite sex. Imagine if you're a man, you go to a woman and you want her phone number and she declines you. You got this big old ego. Or you go in there with this big bravado, this big ego of who you think you are and all this. Instead of just being humble, being cool, being kind, being gentle, being, a good spirit, being who God really made you. But you go with this big ego, or she declined you. Now you got this big ego. You don't know who else is watching. It could have been somebody else who liked you, but now she sees how you handled the rejection because of your ego. And now everybody's going to reject you. But if you took your ego out of it, you don't understand what she had going on. But your ego makes you think that she rejected you, but you don't understand what she might have just got out of a relationship. She might be not dealing with nobody. She might be in school and she needs to focus. You don't know what's going on. But your ego just thinks I'm rejected. So now because your ego thinks you're rejected, now you react in a way that you have been hurt because your ego has been hurt. So now everybody sees the display of you being hurt because your ego got bruised. Instead of you handling it and take your ego out of it and just saying, hey, cool. Whatever the case may be, it is what it is. And it could have been somebody else around you who likes you, who sees you every day, who is enamored by you, who would have been willing to take the opportunity with you, but you squandered it because you let your ego rule. Like I said, in every situation, people let their ego run or rule them. Like I said with Diddy, all this with the scandals and all this that he got going on is because of ego. It's because he thought he can do these things and get away with it. It's because he believed that false sense of who he was, what the world told him he was, what people bigged him up to be. He believed that. He believed he was king of the world. He could do anything to anybody and get away with it. The ego won, but guess who lost? Diddy. This one's going to hit home. A lot of black women have recently lost their jobs. Now, this don't apply to everybody or everybody in this situation, but what I'm saying is a lot of black women who lost their jobs were the same ones who said they're not going to date down, were the same ones who said they're not going to date a blue-collar worker or any man beneath them or don't make as much money as them. The ego that they had has now been demolished. Well, the things that built up their ego is now gone. Now they look around and say, now we at the bottom of the totem pole. That false sense of hierarchy that you had is no longer. Or the athlete who is out here just dissing people and disrespecting people, disrespecting women, doing this, doing that, treating women any kind of way, lying, cheating, scandals, all this. And then he injures himself or he loses his deal or something happens. The ego has been running so long, now guess what? He has to humble himself. But if you were in these positions and the ego never won and you kept your soul, you kept your divinity, guess what? Okay. Guess what happens now? Universe will make a way for you. But if you rooted all these things in ego, if you rooted all these things in the worldly ways, guess what? It's going to be a hard time for you to come back. Because the same people who bigged you up when you had the ego are the same people who are going to step on you when you fall. Don't forget that. It's the way of the world. Remember, in the game of ego, the winner is the loser and the loser is the winner. When you're in a situation and you feeling conflicted, when you're in a situation you feel yourself getting hot, when you feel in a situation you feel yourself getting heated, you need to take a step back and say, why am I feeling upset? Why am I feeling flustered? Is it because it's not going my way? Am I trying to have too much control? Is my ego in the way? What's going on? Let me get down to the bottom of this before I squander an opportunity, before I squander something. You could be on the phone with customer service and you so caught up in how they're not respecting you, or you got your ego all in the way that you forgot the reason why you even called them. And the desired outcome could have been right there, but yet you chose to go the other way because your ego's in the way. Because it had to be done your way. Or somebody didn't talk to you properly, or this and this and this and this. I'm not saying don't I'm not saying allow people to openly disrespect you and things of that sort. No. But even when you reprimand somebody, or even when you correct somebody, or even when you tell somebody something after they're doing it, ensure that your ego is not in the way. I'm not perfect. I've been in situations where I've been disrespected, and I've had to correct somebody, and my ego was kind of still in the way by how they might have, handled the situation. We all been hurt. We all been type of ways. It happens. But when you fully let your ego run, and you don't have any mental thought about, damn, that feels bad, or this and this and this, or I shouldn't have did like that, or I should do this situation better, or woo woo woo. If you don't have that consciousness, guess what? The ego's gonna overrule you, and that ego's gonna win. And guess who's gonna be the loser? You. Anyway, this Third Eye Rich. I greatly do appreciate y'all for listening. Y'all be safe out there. Love and blessings.